Hi there and welcome to episode 140, possibly, of the ADHD Adults podcast. I'm James Bryant, the man who couldn't go and visit Alex because of a funeral, which I then couldn't attend because I've got to ship back. Double guilt there. And as usual, I'm joined by Dr. Alex Connor, who was so disappointed that we didn't visit because he'd already brought a new shovel. And also the woman who puts the fun into funeral, Mrs ADHD. Alex, hi.
I think your back hurts from flying into windows all the time when you're a bat.
I'd say it's a fast start with the Dracula stuff. Well done. I like that. And Sam, hi.
Hi.
Excellent.
Short and sweet, isn't it? I guess a reminder that we do we started the podcast because we'd read, hadn't we, James? We knew that two white men had never started a podcast before. We wanted to be thought leaders and innovators. Now we do a second episode a week, sometimes, don't know, because we've lost the passwords to all of our social media accounts, and so we don't know what to do with our time, especially Sam. Sam's here as well because while she's working 25 hours a day, she has no comprehension of time or priorities. So she's joined us as well.
I haven't lost the passwords.
No,
still monitoring all of the accounts.
So if you remember before we started recording, I said for the introduction bit, there are going to be bits where you're going to say, yeah, but that's not true because, and I said, if you could just try not to say, yes, that's not true because.
I literally just promised I wouldn't do that. I'm sorry.
Exactly. Anyway, it's okay. We'll power through. So as usual, this mini metro with a knackered steering column, which Fat John at the local garage fixed, but still goes round in circles, never really arriving anywhere of a podcast, is also a tragedy in 3 parts. We'll discuss how the week between podcast episodes has been from our perspective as people with ADHD and people in the community, as well as answering questions from our listeners. So remember to contact us on the website, www.theadhdadults.uk, to send in any questions on the forms there. And then finally, we'll talk about this week's theme, which was anhedonia, why we chose it and how we feel about it. Not happy, probably. So as always, I'll ask you how your week was, and nobody will ask me. I mean, Sam will. So how was yours, Sam?
Oh, pretty shit. Ill mostly. It was only yesterday that I started to feel better, I think. How about you, James?
That can't be the end of it.
No, that's amazing.
Why?
I mean, I'm glad because normally it's like a train spotting diatribe.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Okay. So
James.
Yeah. So we had I had getting over the migraines and then getting the shits, which persisted a lot longer than I thought. And I thought, I've got over having this diarrhea and vomiting bug now, and then very much hadn't. And for days was kind of tired and exhausted. And as we know, when you're not feeling well and you're not sleeping so well and everything gets worse with ADHD. But I've been just about managing to keep on top of stuff. And last night, Alex, I did week 3 of the online ADHD and productivity course. First of all, massive thank you. There's loads of people in there that I know, and I obviously love you all, but massive thank you to Kirsty, who basically runs it by constantly putting links to the Discord, links to the website, links to the slides. When anyone asks a question, she puts stuff in. It's incredible. But it was a really good session last night. After the week before, there were some tech issues, and I was happy with it. And then we got to the point where we were talking about time management, and I was saying that something that can work is to have really annoying reminders. So not just an alarm that beeps or vibrates. You can say to a smart speaker, for example, say, James Elephant, James Elephant, James Elephant, James Elephant, and something just ridiculous, and you have to turn it off. And then loads of people started saying, I've got Alex saying trigger warning klaxon as my alarm or reminder, and it turned into this crescendo of loads of that. And then not long afterwards, somebody said what I considered to be, this course is okay, but it's not as good as Alex's. And I immediately just froze and thought, is that what they said? I'm not sure. And as you know, Alex, the chat kind of goes really quickly.
It goes really quick, doesn't it?
So I just went into autopilot as I was scrolling up the comments to see if that's what they said. And I'm pretty sure it is what they said. I think they were saying this is almost, it wasn't a negative thing. They were saying this is great, but it's almost as good as ours. But I was just talking, I don't know what I said because I was just scrolling up. Did they say that? Because obviously the thought of you doing anything better than me is... Yeah, it's vomit-inducing nonsense. So that's been my week. What about you, Alex?
That makes me very, very happy. I would love, if anyone's videoed that, I would like to see James's blank, furious face. Yeah, I fucked up this week. In June, it was my brother's birthday, so in July, and I booked us a half marathon. I flew him here this weekend.
Oh, happy birthday!
Yeah, happy birthday!
Running
half marathon. I know, but we like that, aren't we? And my wife had asked me 12 times where it is, but I sort of knew it was half an hour away, so I didn't answer and when it was. And on Saturday afternoon, she said, "Look, it's tomorrow. Just tell me where it is." And I checked with my brother sat next to me, and it was that morning. I'd missed it. Jules said it was worth coming over just to hear me go, "It was this morning." That like voice, everyone who listens to this is probably familiar with hearing from their own bloody heads. It was unbelievable what I'd done again, and really shocking. What the only bright spot was, one, I saw my first ever live electric blue kingfisher or Icevogel, James.
Wow!
Oh, Sam, beautiful, like woof, it's incredible electric shock, and saw a couple of like beautiful woodpeckers and a jay just sat right in front of loads of cool stuff.
Oh,
we walked pretty much the route that the half marathon would have been on our own.
Wow.
And then we had time. I've never listened to the podcast because I'm ashamed. But Jules does. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say his name or facts about him. Anywho, and he was listening, and he just shouted out from the other room because we had time to listen because we weren't doing the half marathon. He just laughed and said, "I like how Sam contradicts herself almost in the same sentence." And it just really made me laugh. I can't remember, but I think it was where you said for sleep you don't have any light on, and you put that game on your phone at the same to get to sleep, and the two things are intuitive.
Not in my head.
I can actually picture Jules's smile when you said it was this morning. I can picture that look on his face when he
was
said
delighted. Absolutely delighted. Right. I'm fairly certain I'll ask this question and Sam will answer the previous question. So let's see how that goes. What stupid thing have you been doing instead of what you're supposed to be doing? James, start with you. That's you in the script.
Yeah, there's a couple of things actually which are definitely actually answering this question, which I don't think I did last time around. And one was because of missing lots of days with migraines and having the shits and then having to kind of catch up, having to work long hours at weekends and having stuff that has to be done, I decided to completely rearrange my office instead. And this kind of aversive activity, I've got to do this task, but here's a really long and unpalatable task, but yeah, I'll do that instead. So I spent a good 3 hours with a knackered back, moving a big heavy desk and loads of furniture and moving it all around. It's a bit better, but it wasn't doing the tasks I was meant to be doing.
Why?
And then why
do you do that when you're currently under consultant care for a back injury?
Because it was more palatable, as unpalatable as it was, to the task I had to do, which was writing a new online workshop on anxiety.
You're literally married to Hulk Hogan's younger, skinnier brother. Why wouldn't you?
I know, exactly. But again, I've seen that anger, and if she was stressed, I didn't want to go in. You don't poke that bear, Alex.
Ding!
Maybe a ding. Yeah, I thought that. The second thing is, so we get a chance to do little talks, obviously, and I did a little talk yesterday for a German car manufacturer that provides engines and has a Formula One team. And now I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky that the lovely Jack, he of the Toblerone guy fame, came down with me because I was in a fucking mess because I hadn't slept the night before, which isn't great, but I felt kind of okay, and I started doing work at 6:30. Now, the only thing I had to do that morning was one coaching session. Other than that, it was just, doing tasks, just small stuff. And I did the coaching session, and then all of a sudden, it was half an hour before I had to leave, and I hadn't even tried on a suit or jacket or trousers. And by the way, none of them fit because I'm too fat now. I hadn't got everything ready on the laptop. I hadn't packed my bag. I hadn't eaten or, Alex, drank anything that day. So I was completely dehydrated. I had a headache and I had a complete fucking meltdown.
Solid preparation.
Absolutely. Solid preparation. And I honestly don't think without Sam just kind of giving me a hug and making some drinks up and saying, you're going to be all right. And Jack just being there on the drive to distract me, I probably wouldn't have gone. And it was, it was a fucking whirlwind of just half an hour of the world's fucking collapsed. The sky's fallen in.
And I bet you, I don't know, but I bet you £1,000 it went really well.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, it was really
well,
good.
actually, it didn't, Alex.
It was a bag of shit.
Yeah. How would you like to transfer the money? Because we're a bit short at the minute.
Ah, clever. See what you I can't remember the Toblerone thing, and I really want to. Remind me what
it was. A tolerable rogue on Instagram.
Tolerable
rogue guy.
It was a Toblerone guy.
Love it. What about you?
Yeah. Who's next? Who is next? Apologies.
What stupid thing have you been doing instead of what you were supposed to be doing?
I mean, mostly I've been ill, so I've been ill instead of going to Solve Along Murder, She Wrote for my birthday, which was really looking forward to.
Yeah,
I've been ill instead of seeing my family. I've been ill instead of working. I've been ill, apart from yesterday.
Boring.
And I was obsessed with uploading a 2-hour body double video.
Mr. Dobalina,
body Dobalina, Mr. Dobalina, Mr. Bob Dobalina, Mr. Dobalina, Mr. Bob Dobalina, Mr. Bob Dobalina, Mr. Dobalina, Mr. Bob. Okay, sorry.
Just quick question, Sam. What's a body dobby?
Body doubling video. I was trying to upload a 2-hour body doubling video to our Patreon site, but because it was 2 hours long, it took up all of the memory in my phone. My phone then wouldn't work. I couldn't use WhatsApp or anything. I couldn't transfer it to a computer. I couldn't do anything. And James was saying, just leave it. And I was like, I absolutely can't. And I need to go to mum and dad's. So instead, I just spent 15 hours trying to upload it. I still haven't done it. Anyway, how about you, Alex? Or have you done yours?
No, I haven't, but thanks for asking so professionally.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. Apart from not knowing a half marathon, the main thing was I was trying to sleep last night and I was lying there, and it's a double classic ADHD. I couldn't sleep because my brain started going, what if mass is a dimension and doesn't change with speed, with velocity, like E equals mc squared, rather that time changes and mass is completely fixed? And then I thought, well, I need a mathematician for that. And I genuinely really do need, if anybody can help me with the maths and help me with some sums, I would appreciate it. But then just as I got to the point of what the exact question I needed to ask someone to help me with, which isn't relevant on my job, I started asking myself, why do dogs do woofs? And spent the rest of the time thinking about that and couldn't sleep because of either of them. I was supposed to be sleeping. I was thinking about why dogs do woofs. Right. It's maddening, this brain. It's absolutely maddening. And that's medicated. It's a right pain. Distraction, change of thought. Nothing sticks, does it?
It's fascinating about those thoughts. So the mind wandering and racing thoughts being separate things, that for most of us, the racing thoughts come when we're trying to sleep. It's in the evening, it's later on.
Yeah.
Being able to switch those thoughts off, where it's that constant stream of focusing on something and not being able to just say, well, I'll think about that tomorrow. And obviously sometimes writing it down helps, but I've been getting that recently as well. It's a nightmare. But can I just say, just before you get physics, woodpeckers, and woofs? I mean, what the fuck is this podcast?
That's actually the name of my lawyers. That's a coincidence. Hello, physics, woodpeckers, and woofs.
Sizzly walk, yeah. Anyway, thanks for that, both. We're taking a break, and in part 2, we'll be back with questions and thoughts from our lovely community.
Trumpet.
Welcome back to episode 140 of the ADHD Adults. This is the very special first ever second Friday after season 1, that is season 2 or something. If you want to send us a question for the ADHD Adults that we will answer in a slightly serious but mainly absolutely relevant way, do it by contacting us via the forms on the website, which is 100% definitely www.theadhdadults.uk.
Excellent.
Possibly. We have a question. The very first question. Are you ready? It is.
Yeah.
It's from James, but not our James.
Oh.
you can tell because it's not in Gothic script because he's a Dracula. It says, first of all, I miss you guys and your terrible jokes and painfully relatable struggles. Hope you're all well. I mean, those two aren't. They never are. It's unlikely, frankly, James. I like to read self-help, in inverted commas, books. Rabbit ears, James. I like to read self-help books that often postulate various theories, be it attachment theories or personality types, or any other number of neat boxes that people like to put themselves in. If I have to hear people at work talk about how they are a red or a green or fucking sparkly unicorn one more time, I might smile politely and then have a rant to myself the next time I get in my car. Very good. My question is, I often find myself straddling types or showing false positives for certain types. Yeah, I like that. For certain types, because of ADHD-related things. So do we just ignore them as not for neurospicy people, or is that too simplistic? James. Right, so are the models of how people work in any way relevant, and do we have to ignore them because they're not designed for neurodivergent people? Sam?
We're all different. Don't try and fucking pigeonhole me. I don't fit into any box.
Ding.
Yeah, no, I've seen this before, and I don't know. I think I don't know. It's not for me. I can change within a sentence, as you know. So I don't think you can kind of accurately pinpoint how I'm going to work or what my working style or personality style is. It's just mine. I'm me. And I'm not like a homogenous group of people that all think the same. It's like horoscopes, isn't it?
Oh, you bitch. I was going to say that.
Oh, really?
I was going to say psychological horoscopes.
And actually, as I was saying that, I was thinking, oh, but actually, I do like the horoscope thing. But it's similar, isn't it? It's like I don't know, if you like this thing, then you must like all of these things, or you're this particular way. I don't know. There might be some science in it. I am not a scientist. I don't know if you're aware, but I just think I'm me, and don't lump me with those other people. How about you, James? Horoscopes?
Yeah, I just I mean, there is, listen, there's poor science behind some of the personality type tests that you can do. Yeah, exactly. They are now largely like MBTI, disregarded when it comes to employers using them in, before.
Yeah. Well, they still before you.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, you're absolutely right. In my opinion, Sam, they are psychological horoscopes. But if you answer a set of questions and it says, right, this is your personality type, you do these things, it doesn't mean you do, and it doesn't mean you are, because you've just answered some questions, and then somebody's relatively arbitrary set of boxes which they believe form the major personalities, you've then to some extent aligned with one of those. It's nonsense.
I get it though, because I fucking love filling forms in and questionnaires. So I get it. I filled them all in and gone, oh, maybe this is what I am, and then noted it all down and then immediately forgotten it. But yeah, I get it, because I want to be that, but I'm not.
I'm not so negative about them. I really like that joke that MBTI is astrology for LinkedIn. I
don't know what MBTI is.
It's one of the tests.
Yeah, the Myers-Briggs type indicator. It's based on Jungian psychology. So they call it astrology for LinkedIn, and I really like that. But what I have to say is that this is like labels, like the label of ADHD, isn't it? It's a personality type in a way, as well as being a disorder. All models are wrong, but some models are useful. So what I do is I like the label ADHD because it expands my options. So if this personality type, it restricts you, it's shit. If it expands your options, or you feel it does, then maybe there's something in it. That's how I think of them.
I like that.
If it taking away the guilt and allowing me to do more things is the label of ADHD. But saying I'm a introvert, for example, which is bullshit. No one is pure introvert. No one is pure extrovert. It's just preferences and tendencies. So saying I'm an introvert, if that stops me going out when I want to, it's unhelpful. If it lets me feel less guilt for not wanting to go out, and so I don't, and I choose my own life, then it's positive. It's about that. It's about expanding your options. That's it for me.
Well done. Cool. That was good.
What?
Me. It's me up next, isn't it? Yeah. Me. So I think this is probably one of the most profound, and it's going to be difficult to answer this, and one of the most profound and deep questions.
Don't choke up, James.
So this is from Nixie, and it says, sorry, James did a really long, loud burp on one episode, and I don't feel this was fully acknowledged. This is more of a statement than a question, which it is, Nixie, and I agree wholeheartedly that burp was one of the better burps. I'd say it's a top 5 burp that I've done in my entire 48 years on this planet. And I don't believe that it was fully acknowledged. I agree 100%. Thoughts?
It was one of the better episodes.
Yeah.
Can I just say, Nixie, namaste and thank you.
Oh, yeah, I really liked that. I loved that it. Yeah. Anyway, my question, not mine, Matt G's. How do I get people around me to understand that the medication does not fix every part of ADHD, and while it helps me to not to get distracted, really doesn't do that for me. It doesn't help everything. James, Alex, whatever.
It's a really good question, and it's something that, I mean, Christ, we get asked it all the time by various people at talks and online, because we are all slightly different and our brains are all slightly different. The medication affects everyone differently, and I always go back to Nick, our psychiatrist friend's comment, which I think is the best way to describe it, is that for most of us it just makes us more functional. So it can help us to focus on tasks and be less distracted. No, don't have to be the tasks we want to work on, but it does help us focus on tasks and be less distracted. It can help us quieten down some of that internal restlessness and noise, for example. And in some people, it might even help with hyperactivity. But you're right, it almost never impacts the emotional side of things, rejection sensitivity and emotional dysregulation, in a marked or significant way. And the non-diagnostic stuff, the time blindness, the RSD, the working memory, that for me is like the 75% of ADHD. The diagnostic criteria, those 18 criteria, that's about 25% of ADHD, and that's what the medication generally helps. Alex? I
just love that. Sam, you're saying the meds don't help you focus for a bit longer. Don't insist you on that in any way.
No, I'm just saying I don't get I still get massively distracted by everything.
Yeah. We need to talk at some point about
more.
As an episode, we need to talk about what distraction means, don't we? Because there's lots of different types of distraction. I think that's a really good point. I love this question, Matt. I think it's really important. The disorder of ADHD probably isn't only a reduction in neurotransmitter activity. It almost certainly isn't just that. And so the meds isn't a cure for ADHD at all. It might even be nothing to do with that. It's just that they allow some of the things that people with ADHD can't do very well to do a bit better. That's it. And add to that, the side effects can be worrying, even if they're not serious ones. Like sometimes I don't lay as many memories down because I'm focusing, and therefore I don't care as much about a thing. So, and that's what memory is. It's emotional. And I get nervous about the meds, and I would say it's a personal pros and cons balance of what they do and why. But at the same time, it's important, especially for me, to be aware of the pros of the meds. I think they've saved my life. I know they don't do lots of stuff, but a lot of the anxiety I felt is because I can't do those diagnostic things that the meds do help with. So instead of actually having an anxiety disorder, my anxiety was just being shit because I've got ADHD. I know other people don't have the same effects. So, James, the fact that they've saved my life, that would be in the pro column, not the con.
Rebuttal. I think for the world, actually, Alex, that would be a con.
You're a horrible person.
Yes.
Sam?
Yeah, I'll try and actually answer the question instead of just talking about what medication. Anyway.
No, I said it doesn't, the 75%.
I was talking about Alex.
Okay, well.
Talking about side effects of medication, weirdly. Anyway, how do I get people around me to understand that medication does not fix every part of ADHD? Just spend a fucking day with me. And if you're anything like me, get them to spend a day with me. And then they'll understand that fully medicated, you're still a bag of shit. Get them to watch ADHD Towers for a day and say, she's fully medicated, fully titrated. Imagine how bad she was without meds.
It was bad. I remember.
Yeah.
That's my answer.
Good. Wasn't aggressive at all. It's nice to end part 2 on a positive note, isn't it? I think.
Absolutely terrifying, isn't she?
Yeah. Completely.
We're taking a break from each other in part. Oh, shall I see us out again? Yeah. We're taking a break in part 3. Oh, we're so mean, Sam. It's ableist, actually. In part 3, thoughts on this week's theme and podcast.
Alex, hi.
Alright. What's up?
Welcome back to part 3 of the ADHD Adults podcast, episode 140, which is the Friday episode after the Monday episode of anhedonia. Alex, what made you choose the last idea for a theme?
Well, I just like words that start with A. That was why.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
How about you, James?
Well, ironically, talking about words that start with A, fucking Alex, obviously, dropping that bomb on me as a non-clinical doctor saying, well, James, you've got anhedonia. And then me going,
you knew.
What?
You know I did.
No, listen, I kind of have always accepted I might not be the happiest person. I can be fucking, look at the looks on both of your faces, you couple of cunts. Unbelievable. Listen, part of what we do on this podcast is playing a role. We are slightly caricatured parts of ourselves, but I am a grumpy twat a lot of the time. That doesn't mean that I don't have or enjoy humor. It doesn't mean that I am bad company. I know that I'm saying that.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah, exactly. But it does mean that when you dropped the A-bomb on me and said, you've got... I did think that for a second, I don't know. Yeah, you've got anhedonia. I just absolutely hyper-focused for a month. And I'd like to thank our lovely Laura for sitting down in Ireland and talking to me for a good 2 hours about this. I'm almost coaching me. It was brilliant. Yeah. And other people that have since on Discord talked about it. I just looked at it and it was almost like a little bit the diagnosis of ADHD. My whole life made sense. All of a sudden, looking back and feeling the shame of times when I should have been bursting with joy, and inside I was just thinking, mask, everyone else is happy, pretend you're happy, say you're happy, say this is amazing, where inside you're just thinking, this is a thing that's happening to me right now. And I think it's important that anyone out there that might feel that way just accepts it's okay. It's okay. Sam,
you, Sam? Yeah.
I have no editorial rights in this podcast. I did not choose the theme.
Yeah.
Was there any thought or tip from the theme that you forgot to say, Alex?
You read them out so beautifully. No, you're reading. Yeah, so there's this sort of cultural expectation, isn't there, that everybody else is happy all the time, or that we all experience things the same, and you're different, especially if you're neurodivergent, because you do process and think beyond the normal parameters. Even though there's no such thing as neurotypical as an individual, we are diagnosably beyond it. So I think I would recommend looking for peace over other happiness, because especially with neurodivergent people, there is positive overwhelm as well as negative. So even joy can be destabilizing sometimes. So finding an element of peace and safe emotional safety for me is far, far more important for my life and wealth and health than looking for like objective joy. And I honestly find joy comes with safety, not the other way around. Anything? What about you, Sam?
I don't think there's anything that I can't remember what I said or anything about this.
No, I never thought about it.
No, I can't. I haven't got anything to add. I'm sorry, James. What about you?
Yeah, so there's two things. The first is that because of alexithymia, that inability to really understand our feelings and sometimes our emotions and even physical feelings, there is this kind of shit Venn diagram of alexithymia and anhedonia, because if you actually don't know what happiness feels like or can't express the feeling of happiness, you might feel happy. Some of that, the sub-happy feelings on the wheel of emotions, excited, elated, joy, for example, you might feel them, but you might not know that that's what it feels like, or you might not be able to express it. So, I've been thinking about this a lot, that there's this combination for some of us that we might not feel many positive emotions, but we also might not be able to spot some of the positive ones we feel. And the other thing is, for me, it's a tip, but it's my tip, ding. And that is enjoy others' joy, rather than feeling like, why can't I be like that person? I mean, I live with the most joyful, childlike little imp you could imagine.
You got a lodger?
Exactly. Right. I mean, and clearly she's also, I mean, she is the Hulk, so she does turn into this incredibly scary, aggressive monster. But when she's not the Hulk, it's like having a 4-year-old that sees a new teddy bear or a dog or a kitten or a new toy, and the joy that she has actually is my happiness. Seeing her like that, seeing her joyful, I take, I suppose, pleasure from it. So rather than feeling like, well, why don't I have that joy? Why can't I be like a 4-year-old? I just enjoy other people's joy. If you see what I mean, that's a way of reframing it. Yeah, but it reframes that negative. Why can't I do this? To, well, I can't do it, but I will enjoy. It's like you, Alex. You're shit at badminton, but when you play me, and I'm really good at badminton, for example, you'll stand there and say, you know what, I can never beat him, but I'll just enjoy how good he is.
And also the style of it as well.
Yeah. I've never beaten him. I've never ever beaten him at badminton.
That's true. No, it's absolutely true. I hate to say it, but Sam always comes up with something that's enjoyable, even if it doesn't last. And it is always nice to hear, isn't it? It's a positive thing. Yeah. Hey, that might be. I might have some empathy. Shit.
Just for a brief second.
Very, very lovely. Right, that was episode 140 of the ADHD Adults. It was the first ever second Friday after the break edition of the ADHD Adults after Monday's episode on ADHD and anhedonia. If you like this nonsense and want to get involved, contact us using the forms on our podcast website, theadhdadults.uk. Goodbyes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Trigger warning, klaxon, 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 big klaxon. Trigger warning, klaxon, 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 klaxon. Trigger warning, klaxon, klaxon, klaxon.